which explains away climate change, because whichever edge it's moving towards is definitely going to warm up, and the other edge is definitely going to be cooling down. That's going to be a constant thing over 26,000 years, because the moon is a picture of the Earth, and I think there's like, you've got the moon, I think there's a circle about this size or something, and that's our known world.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is supposed to be our whole Earth, but this is the known bit, hence the ice wall, because outside where the sun is, it will of course freeze. So there is an ice wall around it, and that will keep shifting, because it will thaw on one side and freeze up on the other as the smaller circle moves. I believe that is one of the hidden truths.
It's pretty good. You actually brought up 3 things there that was really interesting to me, but the last one, like the I call it the Great Year, but that is one thing that I've noticed is really important when it comes to history, and like the thing that I get into when it comes to that is how it's been pushed on us over time that people in the past believed that the world was flat, and it seems odd to me that they would do that when there's evidence that shows people were actually measuring the Great Year during that time period. You would have to think that if a person was doing that, they wouldn't be dumb enough to really believe that frickin' the world was flat and it wasn't round. You know what I mean? Because they would have the math. You know what I mean?
Here's another thing. I believe one of the first people who tried to prove that the Earth was a globe used Pythagoras' theorem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't work if it's a curve. Pythagoras has to be on a flat plane.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Now, kind of elaborate on that, because now you got me curious. Let everybody know what you're talking about there.
Pythagoras' theorem is like, what is it? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's like, that's the lengths of a triangle, the sides of a triangle. But that requires all of them to be dead straight lines. So if you're trying to prove that the Earth is curved, you cannot use a mathematical equation that relies on straight lines.
Makes sense. That is true. And it is a fact too that Pythagoras' theory was a triangle. It was a triangle, not a circle or anything of that nature.
Like one of the lines isn't curved.
All right, it's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Oh, so the way I actually say it, it's like, because people ask, it's like, so are you a flat earther? I think I'm closer to it, but the reason is globe is easier to debunk than flat earth, but they're not going to let me go and prove either one of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of stuck.
So when it comes to flat Earth, what kind of gives you the impression that it's flat Earth from your perspective? You know what I mean?
As I said, it's just easier to debunk globe Earth than flat Earth.
So it's just a matter of which one is easier to debunk rather than...
because I can't prove any. They're not going to let me go and do it. I mean, there's enough videos out there that prove a lot anyway, but I can't go and check. They're not going to go, okay, we'll let you go fly over the Antarctic wall and go and see what's there. They're not going to let me do it. So I can't physically prove either.
That kind of gets me to where I'm wanting to ask you what your thoughts are on maps as well, because I think we kind of before we've actually kind of dabbed into that conversation, but we never really fully got into it. But like, especially these older maps that everybody talks about, that was depicting Antarctica before we were actually able to supposedly explore it. What's your thought on a lot of these old maps?
Well, there's definitely tectonic shift, and there's definitely been raising of sea levels, because apparently New Zealand used to be called Zealandia or something.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been a different name, can't remember. But it was one of the larger continents on the planet and took up a lot of the Pacific. But like the shelf of New Zealand apparently is only like 30 meters or something.
Mm-hmm.
So if the ocean level, like the sea level, was 30 meters lower, this would have been one of the larger continents on the planet. So a lot has changed, but it's due to the sea level rising, and there is a lot of references in every text to there being a great flood. Maybe the waters just never receded as much as they had before.
Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, you were talking about New Zealand and its continent basically sinking under the water. That brings me to something that we've had a conversation with before about Lemuria. What's
Mm.
your what's your thoughts about that? About Lemuria?
Well, Lemuria is one of the continents depicted in the moon. See, if you take the moon, you've got to remember it's a picture. So you
Mm-hmm.
actually need to like revert, like, mirror it again for everything to be in the right order that it is. So when you look at the moon, you got to remember it's a picture of here. So you want to look at it from the other side, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you need to mirror what's on the moon to see what it is. But yeah, Lemuria is one of the other continents that's, I know, I guess, in the shade from us at the moment. Because we're this circle over here, Lemuria is one of the continents over here. I can't remember what the other one's called. But Lemuria is one of like the giant continents.
You believe that it could have possibly existed in the past?
I believe it still exists. It's just
Oh.
they're frozen right now. See, here's something that people get wrong. Extraterrestrial, they think aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Extraterrestrial just means other land, more land.
Mm-hmm.
So these things could just come from one of these other places that isn't currently in the sunlight.
That is an interesting theory right there. That really is. Now, when you say isn't in the sunlight, exactly what are you referring to when you say that?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, you've got, if the moon's a true depiction of Earth, why does Teams keep doing that?
It,
Stop it,
it's
Teams.
it's acting up. It's kind of
But yeah, so if you've got the whole moon, yeah, it just keeps opening up on me for some reason. Oh, it's doing it again. Stop it. I can't see what I'm up to.
yeah, it's kind of acting
Cut it
weird.
out. But yeah, so you've got the whole moon, and then you've got the smaller circle, which is going around like this, around the larger circle, moving around
Mm-hmm.
with inside that larger circle. So there's only an illuminated section. Why do you
Got
think
it.
they call it the four corners of the earth?
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually
This,
that.
this the circle's only about a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's slowly moving around the whole larger earth. The rest of everything that's like here, theoretically, should be frozen right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean they hadn't already learned how to make eternal energy shit to keep themselves warm and lighted for 26,000 years till the sun comes back.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Now, when you talk about the four directions, um, uh, have you done any research into the cardinal winds, the four winds of the earth and the directions? Like you have the north wind, the south wind, east wind,
No,
and the west
I
wind.
can't say I've looked into that one. No.
That's every time somebody mentions cardinal directions, that's what I always fall back to because I used to get into well, I have been recently. I shouldn't say I used to. I actually had to stop, because it just gets a little bit deep. You start going farther back into history.
Yeah.
Um, we've had conversations too when it comes to ancient ancient beliefs and stuff. Now, the one thing that I would really like to hear from you is what's your thought on um, the primordial ooze is how I refer to it. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Primordial ooze. See, that implies evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in evolution. I believe there is natural selection. I believe one species can slightly improve itself, but I don't believe it's going to evolve into a different species
Mm-hmm. Now,
at all. So that implies one of two things. That implies, well, it definitely implies a creator of some sort, which implies either a godlike figure or this is simulation theory and someone made a really good simulation and we are living in the matrix.
mhm. Now, when you think about evolution, that makes me think the opposite. It makes me think that maybe like everybody wants to make you believe that evolution is a modern scientific study, but like you said, it does kind of resemble the primordial ooze, an ancient belief that was out thousands of years ago. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I've noticed that when it comes to actual science, where it's like the Big Bang Theory. Okay, everybody talks all bad about the Big Bang Theory, but if you look at it and then you look at what's written in the Bible, there isn't very much difference.
Not a lot. It's
You
just
know?
like, yeah, sudden existence.
Yeah. I do find that kind of odd that people make that distinction, though. Like they say, "Oh no, it's not the same thing." But in reality, if you look at it and you keep an open mind and just look at it like you're supposed to, you can see there's not really that much of a difference. It's like they've used these old theological beliefs to create their science. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Truth is our reality in the Rumble chat said Darwin was a Mason and tasked with writing that fakery. Yes, Darwin actually also recanted on his deathbed as well, which most people don't know. He
Mm-hmm.
actually recanted his whole theory of evolution on his deathbed.
There you go. The people have spoken. D Live has brought us to life.
Oh,
And
now that was on Rumble. Okay,
oh,
I
that,
dropped that. Yeah, I dropped the Rumble link in my D Live, so he came over.
I keep forgetting to keep tabs on your chat too on D Live because I was going to, and then I forgot to switch it over there to make sure that I kept an eye on it. Nobody ever comes on my chats to say hi or MC Dirty Work does. He came in and gave me like a whole bunch of ice cream cones.